There was a time when a man sat beneath a tree, not in search of power, not in pursuit of wealth, but in quiet determination to understand one simple question: why do we suffer? That man was Gautama Buddha, and what he discovered was not a theory, not a belief, but a truth so clear that once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Listen carefully, because this is not just philosophy. This is a mirror. The Buddha begins not with comfort, but with honesty. He says, life contains suffering, not to discourage you, but to awaken you. Because if you look closely at your own life, you will see it. The stress that lingers in your chest, the quiet dissatisfaction, even after achieving what you once desired, the fear of losing what you love, the pain of change, the resistance to what is. Suffering is not always loud. Sometimes it is subtle, a constant hum beneath everything you do. The Buddha did not say life is only suffering. He said suffering exists, and that distinction matters because you cannot solve what you refuse to acknowledge. But here is where his wisdom deepens. He did not stop at identifying suffering. He asked, why? And what he saw was this: suffering is born from craving. The mind constantly reaches. It says, I need more, I need different, I need this moment to be something else. You crave success, and when it comes, you fear losing it. You crave love, and when you have it, you fear it changing. You crave certainty in a world that promises none. And so the mind traps itself, not because of reality, but because of its resistance to reality. Imagine holding water tightly in your hand. The harder you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. This is craving. This is attachment. The tighter you cling, the more you suffer. The Buddha once told a story of a man struck by an arrow. The pain of the arrow is real, but then the man begins to panic, to overthink, to resist, and it is as if he has been struck by a second arrow. The first arrow is life. The second arrow is the mind. Most people are not suffering because of what happened. They are suffering because of how tightly they hold on to it. But here is where hope enters, because the Buddha did not leave us in suffering. He said, it can end, not temporarily, not conditionally, but completely. And this is the part most people overlook. They believe peace comes from controlling the world, from arranging life perfectly, from eliminating uncertainty. But the Buddha discovered something far more powerful. Peace comes from letting go of the need to control, from seeing things as they are, without resistance, from understanding that thoughts are not commands. They are simply passing clouds. Imagine sitting by a river. Each thought is a leaf floating by. Most people jump into the river, chasing every leaf. They exhaust themselves. They drown in their own minds. But you can sit on the shore. You can observe. You can let each thought pass without becoming it. And in that space, there is freedom. This is the end of suffering, not the absence of difficulty, but the absence of unnecessary struggle. And how do you reach this state? The Buddha offers a path, not a shortcut, not a hack, a path. He called it the Eightfold Path. But do not think of it as something rigid. Think of it as alignment, seeing clearly, thinking clearly, speaking truthfully, acting with intention, living with integrity, making effort with awareness, staying mindful, and cultivating deep concentration. It is not about perfection. It is about practice. Daily, quiet, consistent practice. Because the mind will wander. It will crave. It will resist. That is its nature. But your power lies in awareness. Each time you notice and return, you take back control. Each time you pause instead of react, you weaken the grip of suffering. Each time you let go instead of cling, you become lighter, stronger, free. The Buddha did not become enlightened because he escaped life. He became enlightened because he understood it. He saw that suffering is not something to fear. It is something to learn from, a signal, a teacher, a doorway. And so I ask you, where in your life are you holding too tightly? What are you resisting that simply is? What thoughts are you believing that are not truly yours? Because the moment you begin to observe instead of react, to accept instead of resist, to release instead of cling, everything begins to change, not outside, but within. And that is where true power lies, not in controlling the world, but in mastering the mind that experiences it.